Onward now with Greater LA on KCRW. I'm Steve Chiotakis. Last month, KCRW's Young Creators Project found 5 talented musicians and songwriters. You may have heard their work on Morning Becomes Eclectic. Well, April was National Poetry Month. And after dozens of submissions, KCRW has now found 5 talented young poets and storytellers. We're going to hear from them and their work over the next few days here on Greater LA and on KCRW's Morning Edition. And I'm joined now by one of these young creators. Her name is Gillian Chamberlin. She's 17 years old, a senior at California School of the Arts in the San Gabriel Valley. And she doesn't just write poetry, by the way. She's also a filmmaker. She's also a musician. And earlier this year, she was named one of the top 20 teen artists in the US by the Young Arts Competition for a film that she made called The Dinner Party. So she's got a lot going on. She's going to read one of her poems now. But before she does, I just want to let you know that it does have some strong themes that might make some folks uncomfortable. So here's Gillian Chamberlin reading her poem, Darling.
I'll give you everything. I'll cough up my pearls, the ones that had grown in my belly, and I know that when I see them, they'll be stained with blood. I'll smile at you, my gap-toothed smile, and I'll spit them into your hand. You'll pat me on the head and stroke my cheek. You created those little pellets of beauty from nothing but waste. You threw dirt in my eyes. You rang my neck in the shower curtain, and you counted the seconds as my head submerged in the kitchen sink, inhaling the food that had clogged the drain. And when your hands loosened and my head rose, the peas and the carrots clung to me. They clung to my hair like gems. And just like that, a piece of sand had been shoved down my throat, a little piece of your pain. And it sat in my belly until a pearl, the size of my thumb, parted the pathways of flesh, climbed out of my chest just to rest in your palm. Oh, I love you, darling. I love you oh so much.
Tell me a little bit about Darling. I mean, when did you write it? What was the initial inspiration for it? Because there are some pretty heavy themes in it.
Yeah, so I actually wrote this, I'd say roughly around a month ago. So it's a pretty fresh poem. And when I start writing poetry, oftentimes I take on a persona. So for this poem, at least, I started off with just kind of this image of this woman, and she had a desperation about her, and she had an attitude. But I feel like what intrigued me most about her was her strength. I kind of admired her for that. This woman in this poem, she does things that I don't think a lot of us could do. She destroys herself, and she withstands so much abuse that I don't think a lot of people could take. And though she is in this position that is very vulnerable and very cruel, I think there's another aspect to her that I think is what really intrigues me, which is how strong you would have to be in her position and to still be alive and functional.
So you're thinking of these things. You're 17 years old, and it's like, your life, I mean, to a lot of us, your life is just kind of beginning, right?
Yeah.
Where's that kind of depth and gravitas about what people are going through and destroying themselves and things like, where does that come from?
I'm really interested in exploring dysfunction through my writing. I feel like it helps me untangle a lot of what confuses me or intrigues me about aspects of human instincts or people or relationships. So yeah.
I'm going to ask you this question, and I don't even know where it's going to go from here, but what do you want to be when you grow up? It seems like you're already grown up by this conversation. What do you want to what do you want to do next? You want to keep doing this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can really only see myself pursuing I don't know, some type of career in storytelling. I'm really attracted to film right now because it can really integrate all the mediums that I work with. Like a lot of my scripts, I do integrate my poetry into them because I can either do it directly or I can do it in the stage directions. And I feel like because I imagine like these narratives that I'm telling so visually, films just kind of fit the bill, where I can, oh my God, I can combine all these different elements, and I can kind of create them and mold them into hopefully this beautiful thing that can really connect with people. But I would say I just want to be a storyteller, whatever that entails.
Well, you certainly have a bright path in front of you. It's wonderful work. Gillian Chamberlin, poet, who joined us as part of KCRW's Young Creators Project. You can watch her perform, by the way, you can watch her perform her poem called Darling at our website, kcrw.com/greaterla. Gillian, thank you for coming on and talking to us. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
By the way, KCRW's Young Creators Project continues for the month of May. The focus is visual arts. We're going to be accepting submissions all month long, so be sure to check it out at kcrw.com/youngcreators.